What up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Breakaway podcast. This is the Breakaway Breakdown. I know we've been doing it the last few weeks, giving you 5 of some of the most important or interesting sports stories in the crazy world of sports. This week, we're only going to give you 3. I think there's some really important topics that Brian and I need to talk about, and we're going to start with this first one. This first one is, out of all the All-Star games, the Pro Bowl is by far the worst. And then after that, we are definitely going to get into the whole Josh Donaldson, Tim Anderson, and calls for racism because he referred to him as what he referred to himself in a 2019 Sports Illustrated article. And then we definitely have to talk about sports media's response to the horrific and evil school shooting in Texas, and specifically Steve Kerr and his response. So let's start with the Pro Bowl here. So the Pro Bowl is, once again, just a laughingstock. It's not even like a glorified flag football game. It's literally just a bunch of guys in all their gear, the best players in their specific sport, in February, in Vegas now, and they're barely touching each other. Some people don't even want to show up.
Yeah.
It's an absolute waste of time.
It's not even in Hawaii anymore, which got a few guys there, was just go have a, Christmas vacation in Hawaii.
The reason we bring that up is so the NFL owners meeting in Atlanta this week is discussing what to do with the game. And they're talking about maybe how do we improve it? Maybe do we get rid of it altogether? The way I'm at right now, if the Pro Bowl's gone, I'm not going to miss it. I mean, we want more football. Like the USFL is taking off a little bit more because we like more football. But we like good football and something meaningful. The Pro Bowl is just an absolute waste of time, and I think it's a shame because you're always, as an athlete, going to be like, oh, I was a Pro Bowler. And you want to showcase your skill, but it's a waste of time.
I probably agree with you that my first thing is just say, oh, let's get rid of it. But okay, let's walk that back for a second and go, okay, let's try to improve it. I think about the other all-star Pro Bowl type competitions. And I think the 2 best, in my opinion, are the 3-point contest and the home run contest, home run derby.
Home run derby's great.
I think both of those are great. So maybe what we want to see is we want to see just more of these top football players performing their skills. Now that hurts for the defensive players because there's not a lot that I care about seeing them do. Maybe we can try to creatively come up with some stuff. But I want to see the best quarterbacks get out there and see who can throw it the farthest. Or I want to thread the needle competition. So adding just maybe a competitive angle like that where it's not a game but it's a competition, maybe that's a way you could improve it.
Yeah, and as we wrap this up, I think just do 7-on-7. 7-on-7's fun.
Flag football.
Yeah, and so it's like the running backs you're going to figure out they're going to be going for passes more.
Yeah.
But in general, that's what you want to see is showcasing when you watch the NBA, the big dunks, the long threes. You want to see the long ball in baseball, like the best parts of the sport. So it's like you like wide receivers and quarterbacks. That's what gets people going.
Mm-hmm.
Throw deep balls, and then they just play 2-hand touch or a little bit of flag or something, and then you're not asking people to get tackled. And then maybe bring in some special teams aspect to it.
Maybe bring in the top corners and say, all right, let's play a game called Island, where you get a quarterback and wide receiver, and the Pro Bowl corner has to shut that receiver down. That actually might be a lot of fun. See one-on-ones.
They could improve it, but if they do get rid of it, I'm not going to miss it. That's the Breakaway Breakdown for Is the Pro Bowl Gone? Breakaway
Breakdown.
All right, it's time to talk about Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson. A story that is just taking the sports media industry and the sports world by storm. Calling racism. Everything is racist now. But we're not getting to the bottom of anything anymore. So Josh Donaldson plays third base for the New York Yankees. They played against the White Sox. It's a nice little rivalry they got going on. Tim Anderson, one of the most exciting young players we've seen in sports. Let's get to the history of this. Josh Donaldson called Tim Anderson Jackie, referring to Jackie Robinson, who Tim Anderson referred to himself as in a 2019 Sports Illustrated article. And now it's one of those where there's racism in everything. So Tim Anderson can say, I'm the new Jackie Robinson. I'm going to bring some fun to the sport. And then Josh Donaldson can be like, what's up, Jackie? And he said this for years. He mentioned this in a post-game presser that we've joked about that. And it doesn't involve some sort of racist connotation. And then all of a sudden, the MLB is like, racism. The woke mob says racism. MLB fans, racism. And you got to get suspended and fined. I think it's totally blown out of proportion. And then we're even seeing reports now that Tim Anderson is saying, I can definitely move on, but I'm not looking for no friendship or relationship from that behalf. I told him we never have to speak again. I won't speak to you. You won't speak to me. Isn't that interesting? They don't even want to have dialogue to figure out some sort of resolution here, because it seems like he understood what Josh Donaldson was referring to, and it's
absolutely
not racist.
No, I think this is a case of Tim Anderson said something stupid a few years ago, referred to himself as the next Jackie Robinson. You can't refer to... That's like, if I were to be like, oh yeah, John, I'm the next Larry Bird. The next time we play basketball, if you were to be calling me, oh, what's up, Larry? How's it going, Larry? Making fun of the fact that I called myself the next Larry Bird, yeah, I would start to feel stupid, because you want to know what? Nobody's going to be the next Jackie Robinson. Like, it's Jackie freaking Robinson. So I think Tim Anderson eventually started feeling dumb, because Josh Donaldson was the only one who was talking that crap to him, of basically ribbing him for calling himself Jackie Robinson. And that's why I think eventually Tim just used the excuse of racism to try and, stop having Josh Donaldson rib him this way.
And then you had Tony La Russa.
Oh, idiot.
He said, Josh Donaldson made a racist comment. That's all I'm going to say. That's all. That's people just run to racism. And that's what the MLB is going to do. That's what the NBA, the NFL, all these woke sports leagues, if they hear anything that seems like it might be a white person against a black person, that's the way they're making it now. They're just going to call racism without actually getting to the bottom of anything.
They're so terrified to be on the wrong side.
And then, unfortunately, right now, you have sports media that's not going to ask the questions. They're not going to get to the bottom of things. And unfortunately, for Josh Donaldson, he's going to be deemed racist to hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of fans who are never, ever going to hear the truth. But you're going to get the truth right here on Breakaway. That's a Breakaway breakdown of the crazy racist nonsense being spewed by the MLB with Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson. Oh, what's up? It's the Breakaway breakdown. Obviously, I'll start this next story with just condolences, thoughts, and prayers to all the families and loved ones affected by the horrific and evil school shooting in Texas. But when we see a tragedy, we see people try to take advantage and push some sort of political agenda. We really believe that it's on the right and the left that try to do this. And sports media, I don't think, does any help. And I think sports media divides us a lot more than unites us. And I don't think sports media and some woke coaches like Steve Kerr and other athletes do anything to actually provide some sort of legitimate remedy. So, rightfully so, we can empathize with Steve Kerr. He is human, he's emotional, he's heartbroken, and he's devastated just like the rest of us. To see life just being torn away from these kids, from an evil shooter. But if you're going to go out and basically say that the only solution is by taking away gun rights from law-abiding citizens with no evidence whatsoever that H.R. 8 and the rest of these accompanying bills are actually going to be able to alleviate school shootings or alleviate past school shootings, and then try to say people that are on the right, whether a politician or that's where you align politically, are basically accomplices in this, that is wrong, that hurts us, and we need sports media to actually do their job to ask the follow-up questions. Steve, how was this gun acquired? Steve, how is this bill actually going to help? Steve, is the solution maybe having some sort of armed guard on these school campuses? Because it seems like, Steve, you actually said no to that 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's something you brought to my attention, was the fact that Steve Kerr a couple years ago, in being part of some defund the police style rallies, he was part of a protest organized by the Black Organizing Project Group, that they were saying that that's what this protest was about. They wanted, instead of uniformed officers on campuses, they wanted funding to instead be used to place more counselors, teachers, and librarians on campus. Like, Steve, I think Steve is a good human being. I think he really, this stuff does hurt him, but I think it's despicable the way that he insinuates that the 50 U.S. senators who don't agree with H.R. 8, or the people who don't want just crazy amounts of gun control that who knows exactly what's going to work and what's not going to work. That's not what I'm trying to get into. But basically saying that they only want to do this stuff to hold on to power, and it's just, Steve, I can walk in your shoes, try to walk in ours for a little bit.
And that's where I feel like we're going to have a longer conversation about this. So just like we did last week, if you want to hear the extended conversation about sports media's response and people like Steve Kerr's response to the horrific Texas school shooting, you got to go to our YouTube. We're going to have that extended conversation, really break down how we feel like there is vilifying on one side and they're providing solutions that I don't think are going to help us, but they're going to hurt us more. And I think they're going to make kids more unsafe in the future. But that's been the Breakaway Breakdown for the top 3 sports stories you find in the sports world this week. We are on YouTube. Make sure you press subscribe, click the bell so you get all the best non-woke sports talk and conversation. If you're listening, make sure you subscribe. We're on Apple and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. I'm John Root. That's Brian Farnsworth. This has been the Breakaway Breakdown.
Wade puts it out.